Hare Krishna. Hare. So, as a ritual, as my service, thank you very much. Can I request everyone to please move forward as much as possible? There's lots of room. And not just slide. If needed, can get up, step, take 2, 3 steps, how much ever is possible, and that's it. Okay. So typically, at this time, we, we announce the sponsors for today and also the upcoming events or the major announcements. We are changing format a little. We'll have the sponsor announcement as well as special announcement we'll do after the class. Would that be okay? So that everyone is surcharged already because of the class and this hall is kind of full, right? So that maximum output. So that's a little change that we are doing based on the discussion we had earlier. But still, one very important thing needs to be done. Is there anyone who's visiting us for the first time? Oh, Hare Krishna. Thank you. What's the good name, Prabhuji? Luke. Thank you very much, Luke, for visiting. You live nearby? Well, oh, not too far, about what? 20, 25 minutes? Yeah. We hope and pray that Gopi and Vallabh allow you to come again and again and utilize this beautiful gathering for spiritual advancement. So thank you once again for coming and hope to see you every Sunday. Someone else is also there? Oh, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for what's your good name, Prabhu? Krishna. Wow, the name itself is beautiful. So thank you for coming, and we hope and pray that Krishna allow you to come again and again. Do you live nearby? Farmington. Oh, very close. You're closer than me. Oh, so it's time to welcome our Sunday feast speaker. Anyone knows who that is? ISKCON Shyam Kishore Prabhu. We don't need we don't need any detailed, any special instruction, any introduction. Everyone have heard it. Anyone who's hearing Bhagavatam classes have heard it. Everyone have children, any kind of activities, they would have interacted with Shyam Kishore Prabhu. Anyone who's involved in any kind of DT-related services, they have seen, they have met him and heard from him. He's a resident monk, very, very sincere, though he don't admit, very senior devotee as well, right? Because devotion is not just by age or number of years, it's by the purity and sincerity in the devotion that devotee have there in their heart. So we all know Shyam Kishore Prabhu is leading multiple services. He is leading one of the very important, very complicated service. Anyone know what that service is? DT department. We have, anyone knows how many RPs and offerings we have every single day? 7 offerings, 7. Are you sure? There's one more offering happen on the behind the scene. 8 offerings. So ensuring everything is available, all the RP paraphernalia is available, all the ingredients are available, all the devotees who do different services, whole week, whole month, they are lined up, their backup lined up, every single thing. Shyam Kishore takes care. Very, very important and complicated department. So he's fully involved in services. We take multiple Bhakti Diksha classes. He's very instrumental in teaching young kids. There are many young kids who's hearing from him and getting immense benefits. He's a Kirtanier. He gives Bhagavatam classes regularly, and he's an example for all of us and very inspiration. He's inspiration for all of us to look up to him. So let's welcome his guest Shyam Kishore Prabhu in our traditional way by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. इसलिए श्याम किशोर प्रभु की first time. Oh, great. Thank you very much. What's your good name? Nikki. Thank you very much. Did you all meet even the welcome team outside? Okay, perfect. So Mataji would have given you all the information as well as gifts. Okay, so we'll arrange gift as well. Please see me after the class and we'll arrange gift. Thank you. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, just in case someone is wondering, Shyam Kishore Prabhu is materially also very well qualified. He's masters from Drexel University, Philadelphia. So he's materially as well as spiritually very well qualified to take this of Vyasa today. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. One more thing. One more thing. We're going to disclose, but the official topic today is purposeful life is basically a prayerful life. So that was the topic. Very topic which is very close to the heart, very important practical applications.
श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सहजातं सहगणनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं भजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभांसुदेवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिमुखपादं शिवरुद्रता हरे कृष्ण. So I am completely insignificant and I will always continue to remain insignificant. So it is all the mercy of the Guru Parampara, mercy of Krishna. And Rishikal Prabhu is engaging me in some way, but actually I'm not doing anything. I'm very fallen, insignificant, have no realization, have no qualification. So I beg for the blessings of everyone. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I just got this topic. I was just thinking of what topic to give, and this topic crossed my mind, and this Kadam Khan Prabhu said that this is all right. So with all of your blessings, we'll try to speak something. So so we have three types of body. We have the gross body, we have the subtle body, and we have the spiritual body. So the gross body is the body that we operate with. We see with our eyes, we smell with our nose, we taste with our tongue, etc., etc. So this is the gross body. The subtle body is the body that we use, but we cannot see. Like for example, the mind, the intelligence. So this is the subtle body. And the spiritual body is the soul. So I'm sure everyone agrees that the gross body and subtle body changes. Our physical body has been changing and will continue to change. The mind will continue to change, the intelligence will continue to change. But the soul is constantly there, and it will continue to exist even after we leave this body. So that's our real identity, is the soul. So what is the nature of the soul? The nature of the soul is he is present everywhere and he is everlasting, unchangeable, immovable, and the same. So this is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Shastra. How many people, how many devotees are coming for the first time today? Can raise your hand. How many have been coming to this temple since last few months, 4 or 5 months? Please raise your hand. Okay. So this is Shastra. What is Shastra? Shastra means the truth of this world, the truth of the spiritual world, which is given by the creator of this material and spiritual world, that is Krishna himself. So Shastra is free from defect. Shastra is pure and perfect. How can we realize this? We can only realize by applying Shastra. Krishna says that this dharma, this bhakti yoga, it cannot be intellectually understood. It can only be realized. Just as it is impossible to prove that sugar tastes sweet without tasting it. In the same way, bhakti cannot be understood unless we practice, cannot be realized unless we practice. Everything else we can understand intellectually, but bhakti cannot be understood intellectually. So that's a very important principle. And so when we practice bhakti, we need to take shelter of Shastra. We need to take shelter of scripture. Otherwise, we will base our practice of bhakti on our mind. And what is in our mind? Mind is simply a reflection of our previous experiences. Many of our experiences, even though we think them to be correct, they prove to be incorrect. Like, for example, when we take a hot shower and we come out of the shower, we feel a little cold. Does it mean it's actually cold? No. It's just because of the relativity. Because we're used to high temperature, when we come to lower temperature, immediately we feel it's very cold. So in the same way, our perception is very relative. And because we have imperfect senses, our experiences are also, many times they are incorrect. So we are the soul. What is the property of the soul? The property of the soul is eternal, full of knowledge, and full of bliss. This is the property of the soul according to Bhagavad Gita. And all our desires are also like this. Our desires, we want happiness which never ends. So we don't want Monday to come after Sunday, although it does. We never want vacation to end. And we don't want to forget things. Like, I'm sure all the students here, you have had this experience. You study very hard for some exam, for some test, and then at the nick of time, the most needed hour, you forget, right? We forget, isn't it? So we don't want to forget. How many of us want to forget? Nobody wants to forget, but we forget anyway. So all of our desires are centered around these three: to be eternally happy and to know everything. Isn't it? How many of you agree? Everyone agrees? So first we have to understand who we are and where we are before we can speak about God. So we are soul and we are eternal. So what is the eternal situation of the soul? the eternal situation of the soul is just like an iron filing. What is the natural situation of the iron filing? Is to be attracted to the magnet. What is the natural situation of a fish? To be in water. So in the same way, the soul, the property of the soul is to receive and to express pure love. That is a property of the soul. As soul, we need this. It's not an option, we need it. Just like we need water to survive, we need food to survive, we need air to survive. So we need love to survive. And love which is selfless and love which is eternal. Because as we explained, that this is a property of the soul. So if you want to nourish the soul, you need to give this kind of food, this kind of engagement. If we give happiness which is temporary, we give happiness which is filled with ignorance, then how will the soul be happy? Like some people think in this world that by drinking you become happy, by consuming alcohol. But according to this principle, when someone consumes alcohol, intoxication, then he becomes devoid of knowledge. And it is temporary. So how is the soul satisfied? The soul is not satisfied. So this is the situation of the soul, the eternal property of the soul is Krishna Prema. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kahunai. So this pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of all living entities. Even the quote unquote, the persons who don't believe in God, anyone and everyone has this eternally established in their heart. So it is already there, but the only problem is it is in a dormant state. So the purpose of spiritual life is simply to awaken, Our spiritual teacher, Srila Prabhupada, when he came to America so many years ago, the first statement he made was that I have come here to teach you something which you have forgotten. Just remind you what you have forgotten. So you already know it, but you have forgotten. It's like an example of a child who has not met his mother or father for many, many years. The same way, we have this love for Krishna, this love for God, eternally established in our heart. By hearing and chanting about God, this awakens. So this is our eternal situation. This is who we eternally are. We're not an engineer, we're not a doctor, we're not this, we're not that. We're actually an eternal servant of Krishna, eternal friend of Krishna, eternal lover of Krishna, eternal parent of Krishna. So this is our eternal situation. In the world where there is no birth, no death, no old age, no disease, no forgetfulness, no problems. That's our eternal constitutional position. That is our right. We deserve to be there. That's why, like I explained, our desires, although impossible to fulfill, our desires are permanent. We want permanent happiness. We don't want temporary happiness. We want full knowledge, not partial knowledge. So this is where we eternally belong. This is where we should be. If we are eternal, if our soul is full of knowledge, full of bliss, then why should we die? Why should we become old? Why? This is a very important question. So we have been going through this cycle of birth and death for so many lives. Sometimes as a king, sometimes as a rich person, a poor person. So we've been continuously cycling in this birth and death again and again and again. And the love that we're looking for, the love that we have in our heart, we have been directing them towards material objects, towards home, towards country, work, family, accomplishments. It's just like, it's a very apt example. You use the phone, like we all have a phone that we use for communication. So we use it, but we cannot love the phone. So same way, material objects, you cannot love. You can use material objects to fulfill a particular objective, but you cannot love. So when we try to love material objects, this love which is there in the heart of all living entities eternally, when we direct that love towards material objects, what happens? We face these problems: envy, ignorance, anger, greed. So instead of making us peaceful, it makes us dissatisfied. What is the best example? The best example is Hiranyakashipu. You all see this picture. Lord Nrsimhadev, who is Supreme Lord. So Hiranyakashipu, he was such a powerful person. Hiranyakashipu was also very, very effulgent also, because his austerity was very, very effulgent, very powerful. Brahma, all the devatas, they used to worship him. They used to give him so much honor. But what does Bhagavatam say? Sa itam nirjita kagu ekarad vishayan priyan yatopa josham bhunjanam na triptyad ajitendriya. In spite of achieving the power to control in all directions, and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied, because instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. Let's go a little deeper. So Hiranyakashipu, by being very powerful, by controlling everyone, he achieved everything. He had so much opulence, he had so much power, he had so much name, fame, everything he had. But because he was not satisfied, he was dissatisfied. Therefore, Bhagavatam is giving this verse, that even if you achieve everything, but if your senses are not controlled, then you will be dissatisfied. Senses cannot be controlled artificially. Senses can only be controlled when they get nourishment. How will they get nourishment? How will the senses get nourishment? Only when the senses are engaged in the service of the master of the senses, and that is Krishna. So this is our situation, that we are in this material world. Although we are eternal soul, we are bound by, controlled by the three modes of material nature. So just as Hiranyakashipu had all the power, all the opulence, in all the three worlds, but he was also controlled by the three modes of material nature. And because he was controlled by the three modes of material nature, therefore, he was not happy. He was not happy. So, unless and until we serve the master of the senses, so behind the three modes, behind this material nature, is Krishna. Krishna is the cause of all causes. So only if we serve Krishna, only if I direct our love towards Krishna, only then will we be satisfied. Only then will our soul be satisfied. And actually, envy, ignorance, greed, all the problems which the world is facing right now is because we are not satisfied, because of the dissatisfaction. The dissatisfaction is coming out in so many ways. Because we are not nourishing the soul, it is coming out in so many ways. That's why to find a person with spotless character is very difficult. Why? Because to have spotless character, first of all, one has to be peaceful. Nobody is peaceful because there is no connection with the source of peace. There is no loving connection with the source of peace, and that is God. So the root cause of our situation, why we are stuck in this situation where we are almost helplessly controlled. Even though we don't want to get angry, we get angry. Even though we don't want to speak in a certain way, we speak in a certain way. Time flies. When we are young, we want to be very successful in education. And then we want to be very successful in family life. And then we want to be very successful in career, etc., etc. And we're constantly running, as though possessed by a ghost. Why? Because of our karma. Not only activities, but because of our nature. Because of our nature. So because of the activities we have performed in the previous lives and the activities that we're performing now, therefore we are acting helplessly. And karma, Krishna says this, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. It's very difficult to, what to speak of untying, it's very difficult to even understand. So therefore, Krishna says, cut the knot, cut the knot. So we all have had this experience in this material world. Sometimes we try to solve a problem, and in the attempt of trying to solve a problem, we create another problem for ourselves, not for others. So we have all had this experience that we come before God and we ask for something. Please give me this, give me that. This is quite an extreme example, but it's quite relevant. That this person was struggling to carry logs of wood. So he called for God's help. Oh God, please come, please help me. And God came and said, Dear God, can you please help me to put these logs of wood on my shoulder? And God said, do you want anything else? You have any other desire? No. So we want to seek a genuine solution to our problem. Our problem is we have no connection with God. Our problem is that our soul is not nourished. That is a problem. So the real solution to that problem is to connect with God. That is a real solution to the problem. The real solution is not just to use God for continuing our existence in this temporary world. Because we have not been satisfied. For so many lives, for so many years, we've been trying, but we're hoping against hope. So many promises have cheated us. We thought we will be happy by listening to this song, watching that movie. We thought that we'll be happy by getting the best grades, by getting the best job. But we have not, till present, we have not been fully satisfied. Even if we are very much satisfied, it lasts very little time. So therefore, the only way to not be dissatisfied is to render unmotivated and uninterrupted service to Krishna. Only by serving Krishna we will be satisfied. This is what Shastra says. This is what Bhagavatam says. So this is our situation. We are in this material situation, this material world, and we need to get out of this world. We need to get out of the control of birth, death, old age, and disease. We need to make a permanent solution to our problem. Not that we ask God for something and then we come back into the ocean of material existence. No, we want a permanent solution. So why do we need to pray? That's a very important question. Why do we need to pray? Sometimes people say that God is a controller. So anyway, he will control. He knows what is good for us. Why do we need to pray? Because we need to connect with our goal. First is, like I mentioned, that the real solution is to actually go back to the spiritual world and overcome birth, death, old age, and disease. So to connect with that goal and to properly use our independence. Because many times I've had experiences that even though we have the opportunity to act properly, we act improperly. So, in order to ensure that we act properly, we need to pray because we need grace, we need some divine energy, we need some higher power to actually help us. So, what should be the mood of prayer? The mood of prayer should be just like this bird. So this bird lost its eggs in the ocean, and even though the ocean is so infinitely big compared to the size of the eggs, uh, the bird um, took a vow that it would drive out the ocean by using its beak, and it was sincerely trying. And seeing its determination, Garuda, who was a carrier of Lord Vishnu, came and demanded the ocean to return the eggs. So God helps those who help themselves. So prayer should be very genuine, should be very honest, according to our situation. If we are very genuine, even if we ask for a material things from God, we get ultimate benefit. So there are four types of people who come to God: persons in distress, persons with desires, inquisitiveness, persons who are inquisitive, and those who have spiritual knowledge. But all those four people who come to God, if they approach Krishna, if they worship Krishna, then they will get the ultimate success. But the key is to worship God with intensity. Intensity. This is this is the example of Maharaj Dhruva, all of you may know. So Dhruva Maharaj, as a young child, he was insulted by his stepmother, and his stepmother did not allow him to sit on his father's lap. He felt so insulted. So his mother, Suniti, asked her to approach Vishnu to fulfill his desire. So he went to the forest to fulfill his desire to get a kingdom, a huge kingdom, and to actually prove to his stepmother that he deserved way better. His position was very high, so he wanted to prove to his stepmother. That's why he went to the forest. But because he was simple, he was genuine, because he was genuinely seeking God, therefore he attained the darshan, the personal darshan of God, and as a result of that, what happened? He became completely purified of all desires. So when Dhruva, Maharaj Dhruva, when he took darshan of Vishnu, he mentioned that, my Lord, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but I got a diamond. I got a diamond. So that is the power of sincerity, power of being simple, genuine. So if we are genuine, we will definitely be successful. So what is the first prayer? The first prayer is we all chant Hare Krishna. So what is the meaning of Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna means, oh the Lord, energy of the Lord, oh the Lord, please accept me. That's all. Please accept me. We have no other prayer. So that is the first. Lord Chaitanya taught that we should simply cry and we shall simply pray for accepting us. That's all. So that is the first prayer. When we come before the Lord, that is should be the first prayer to establish the relationship. So when we actually genuinely seek an audience with the Lord, genuine audience with the Lord. In our temple, in this Hare Krishna temple, we are actually aspiring to go to the highest region of the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. That is why we're chanting Hare Krishna. As I showed the picture, so this is a picture of Golok Vrindavan. So we want to go there and we want to have an eternal loving exchange with God. So if we desire this, and this is the highest region of the spiritual world, all the material desires that we want in this world, name, fame, money, anything is within this world. Since the spiritual world is situated at the highest region of the spiritual world, and the material desires are situated in this region, isn't it natural, isn't it common sense that if we attain this perfection, if we have an audience with God, automatically all these desires will be fulfilled automatically. So if we aim for this, definitely all our other desires will be fulfilled. Everyone knows the story of Draupadi. I just wanted to touch some points. Draupadi. So Draupadi, she is actually born from fire, and she's a great devotee of Krishna. But all the Pandavas are great devotees of Krishna, eternal associates of Krishna. Arjun, what is Arjun's qualification? Arjun has no envy. Everyone in this material world, many people, whether Indian or American, they sometimes they misunderstand Arjun to be like them. They think, oh, Arjun did his duty, so if I just do my duty in any way, then I will be successful. Work is worship. But no, what was the quality of Arjun's duty? How did Arjun carry out his duty? That is very important. So Arjun is completely pure, free from envy. That's a very high position. If one is free from envy, means his heart is completely pure. Completely pure. And Krishna was so intimate with Arjun. Krishna stopped the battle of Kurukshetra for Arjun. I mean, such an important battle, you can imagine, like so many thousands of soldiers gathered, and Krishna stopped the whole war just for Arjun's sake. How much dear Arjun is to Krishna. So Draupadi, at one point in Mahabharata, everyone knows that the Kauravas, they made a plot, Duryodhana, they made a plot to actually insult her. They wanted to insult her. So they performed this very abominable act of disrobing her in public. According to Vedic culture, women should be respected very highly. That's why in Vedic culture, women are addressed as mother. So anyhow, so when Dushasan tried to disrobe her, first what she did is she called out to the Pandavas, and by the inconceivable arrangement of the Lord, the Pandavas couldn't do anything. They couldn't protect her. And then she tried to protect herself by holding her sari with one hand, and with the other hand she was calling out to Krishna. Finally, what she did, she just threw both her hands up in the air and shouted the name of Krishna, Oh Govinda, and Krishna reciprocated. On the other side, what was happening? Krishna, it is explained that Krishna was actually playing chess with Rukmini. And as he was playing chess, time to time, Krishna was was becoming very disturbed. And Rukmini said, "My Lord, what happened?" He said, "My devotee is in danger." So Rukmini said, "Lord, then immediately go and save her. Why are you wasting your time?" He said, "No, you know, it's very far. Uh, my devotee, although he's in very great danger, by the time I go, I will not be able to help." So Krishna gave this kind of statement a few times. Finally, Krishna went. The acharyas give the reason why Krishna went finally. Krishna says that when my devotee sincerely cries for me, then by the pathway of their tears, I reach them immediately. So Draupadi, when she completely forgot about her position as I am a woman, I am belonging to the Pandav family, such and such. When she completely surrendered to Krishna, that Krishna, please accept me. I don't care what people will think of me. I don't care what happens to me, but Krishna, I just want to take complete shelter. Then what happened? Krishna reciprocated. And even now, Draupadi is glorified for her devotion to Krishna. So the essence of prayer is to be fully accepted by the Lord, not for any other purpose, but just to have that loving connection, because that loving connection with the Lord is the most intrinsic part of our soul. That is the most intrinsic part of our nature. So the essence of prayer is engage me in your service. Why? Because that will make you happy. The only way we will be happy is if we engage in the service of Krishna. That is the only way we will be happy. So there are different types of prayers, and I'll give examples also. The first kind of prayer, which we'll discuss, is called Samprarthanatmika. Although it may look little difficult, philosophical, but I will explain it so it's very relatable. It's very relatable. So we all can connect with the Lord. And also one more point, that when we offer prayers in line with the great souls, then that prayer is accepted. Many times we pray, and many times we wonder why our prayers are not answered. So prayers have to be bona fide. Prayers have to be, if you repeat the prayers of pure souls, then they will be accepted by the Lord. Just like very simple example, if you go to the home of a very important person and you want to serve him something, you cannot just randomly out of the window just cook something and take. You have to consult with his secretary or his family members, right? So in the same way, the Lord, who is the greatest of the great personalities in both material and spiritual worlds, if we want to have a connection with him, we have to approach him through the great souls. So this is a very wonderful prayer, very touching prayer actually. We all can offer this prayer. Oh my lords, the narration of your transcendental glories is like a ferry boat which enables the devotees to cross beyond the three material worlds. So by chanting the glories of Krishna, then we go beyond the material worlds. What is the best example? Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, although he was tortured and he was in so many ways, but Prahlad Maharaj, even in that situation, he was completely situated in his remembrance of the Lord. This is very wonderful. Prahlad, when he was punished, when he was tortured, he wasn't even in his mind, he wasn't retaliating, he wasn't upset. Why? Because he crossed beyond the three material worlds, because he was constantly remembering the glories of the Lord. Oh my lords, you are very merciful to this fallen and misdirected person. Please listen to this appeal from the mouth of your devotee. Let his words touch your ears. Please do not neglect me. So, feeling prayers with great feeling, they are a wonderful way to connect with the Lord. Like Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya prayed that, oh dear Lord, please engage me as your servant. and give me love for God as the salary. Prema vina vyartha daridra jivan, dasa kori vetan more, deva prematan. So that is the best way to approach the Lord. That, oh dear Lord, that the goal of my life, the goal of my so many lives has been to connect with you, to have a genuine connection with you. So please give me that connection. Please allow me to have that connection. Because Krishna is a very simple person. God is not complex, he's very simple. It's not difficult to approach. It's like example of Dhruva. Dhruva was this 5-year-old boy. He didn't even know the philosophy that we know, the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. He didn't know anything, but he just had a simple heart. So if you have a simple heart and you just desire a connection, then we become successful. And the next kind of prayer is humbly submitting oneself. This is very wonderful. Who am I? Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited? So Sanatan Goswami, another great saint, is praying that, who am I? I am not this body. I don't belong to this country. I don't belong to this occupation. I don't belong to this family. But who am I? What is the identity of my soul? So he was humbly. Humility does not, some people think that humility means artificially putting oneself down. No. Humility means just recognizing our insignificant position. We are insignificant. Even in this world, even in our family, even in our workplace, which is very insignificant compared to the whole world, many times our desires are not fulfilled. Many times people don't listen to us. So how insignificant are we? If we just look at our own situation, many times we become angry, we become envious, etc., etc. So we are controlled by the threefold miseries. Why? How can I come out of this control? How? So that is called humility. So this is Gajendra, the great, actually the great devotee. So Gajendra was caught, his legs were caught beneath the jaws of a crocodile for many, many years. And Gajendra was losing a lot of blood. Due to his previous life of devotional service, he got the intelligence to actually offer this flower to the Lord. Now, we see Vishnu here, but when he was offering the flower, Vishnu was not there. Vishnu came in response to his feeling. Bhakti means feeling. Actually, all his family are here. So many elephants, his family, but they could not protect. So humility means that I have so many impurities, I have so many problems, and nobody except Krishna can protect me. Dhruva Maharaj is the example. Dhruva Maharaj, he had a serious problem. He wanted to sit on the lap of his father, or he wanted to have a kingdom way, way much more opulent than his father. But he was convinced that who can help me? Only Vishnu can help me. Only God can help me. So humility means recognizing that only Krishna can solve my problem. I have a problem, only Krishna can solve. That is called humbly offering prayer. And the last is desire for perfection. So this desire for perfection simply is a desire to serve the Lord. Just like we all have the experience of serving some great personality in this world. We feel very privileged to serve or to associate with some very great personality. So Krishna, God, has all opulences. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yasha shriya jnanam vairagya seva shannam bhava itim gana. So that Lord, Krishna, who is the most opulent, who is the most powerful, who is the strongest, who is the most famous, who is the most beautiful, who is the all knowledgeable, and who is fully renounced, we get to associate with that person and serve that person. And most astonishingly, that person, the Supreme Lord, he is willing to become our friend, willing to become our lover, willing to become our child. So this prayer, the desire for perfection, is to associate with the Lord in the spiritual world. How? Because when we become attracted to the goal, when we become attracted to the idea of attaining the spiritual world, then we can tolerate all the difficulties. We can tolerate all the inadequacies or deficiencies. So today is actually the appearance day of a very great Saint Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami used to pray on the banks of Radhakund with tears in his eyes to serve the Lord, to associate with the Lord. So the solution to all problems, any problem anyone may have, the best solution is to have this intense greed. Material greed for material things, as we all have experienced, results in dissatisfaction, results in trouble, results in so many negative consequences. But divine greed results in establishing a divine connection with the Lord. So one should learn this technique, and he should be very eager and actually cry to become engaged in some particular kind of service. So I'm ending in 5 minutes, please forgive me. So when you all come to the temple, all the activities in our temple are activities which are performed in the spiritual world. Singing, dancing, chanting, anything, even cleaning the pots, cooking, everything is in the spiritual world. So if we become attached to any of these activities and we desire to perform these activities for the satisfaction of Krishna, then that is the price by which we can attain eternal life, free from birth, death, old age, and disease. So the meaning of bhakti means application of love. That's also very important. So far we spoke about prayer, but prayer has to be accompanied with activity. And what is that activity? Activity means sevaya, when you serve, when you express your feeling through activity. That's very important. Just praying is not enough. Like some people say that I always think of God. If you're always thinking of God, means you must be acting for God. If you're not acting, that thinking has very little value. The great saints, the great sadhus, they're always thinking, but also in their eternal spiritual form, they are serving also. So service is essential. Without service, there cannot be love. Like you are there and your friend is there, but if there is no activity, there is no loving exchange. So this is very important. We come to the temple, we offer prayer, but we have to act upon that prayer. We have to serve, we have to do something. If we don't do anything, we just pray, then God will not help us, because God helps those who help themselves. So unless we do some activity to show our sincerity, then our prayers will not be effective. And lastly, yes, praying to God, serving God is the ultimate goal of life, but much more effective or much more accessible to us is Acharya, the pure devotee. So this is an example of our Srila Prabhupada, who is sitting on the Vyasasana. So he used to, for so many years, he used to pray so fervently to fulfill the desire of his Guru. His Guru gave him this order to preach the message all over the world. In 1930. But he fulfilled that instruction. That instruction fully manifested in late 1960s. So all those 30 years, Srila Prabhupada was praying and was also trying his best. He was spreading this message in India. So because he was acting upon his prayer, constantly acting upon his prayer, therefore finally he became very successful. And in just a matter of 10 years, Srila Prabhupada established 108 temples and wrote over 70 books at the age of 70. So this is an living example of how a prayerful life leads to a purposeful life. So to end, I just would like to play a short clip, just a few minutes.
That was there. There is a Banshidas Babaji Maharaj. He was talking with his deity.
Everybody can hear it. Yeah, I'm trying to use the mic.
And Krishna, just like Madan Mohan, he was talking with Sanatana Goswami. Madan
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There is a Banshidas Babaji Maharaj. He was talking with his deity. And Krishna, just like Madan Mohan, he was talking with Sanatana Goswami. Madan Mohan, Sanatana Goswami at that time had no temple. He was hanging his deity on the tree. So Madan Mohan was talking with him, Sanatana, you are bringing all these dry chapatis and it is stale and you don't give me even little salt. How can I eat? Sanatana Goswami says, sir, where shall I go? Whatever I get, I offer you. You kindly accept. I cannot move, old man. So Krishna had to eat that. Because the bhakta is offering, he cannot refuse. Jimang bhaktya prajach. Real thing is bhakti. What you can offer to Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. What you have got? What is your value? And what is the value of your things? There is nothing. Therefore, the real thing is bhaktya. Real thing is your feeling. Krishna, kindly take it. I have no qualification. I am most rotten, fallen. But I have brought this thing for you. Please say. This will be accepted. Don't be puffed up. Always be careful. You are dealing with Krishna. That is my request. Thank you.
So I'll end with this. I'm sorry it's little over time.
And also we have a couple of announcements, so please stay in the room. Also, are there any quick questions? Golden opportunity to ask question directly to Shanti Shubhu.